Good afternoon, brethren, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of the Masonic Temple and Library Speaker Series. My name is Ben Littman. I'm a past master, and this topic is strategic leadership tools for the business of the lodge and beyond. So first, for the table of contents, we'll talk about buy-in, attributes, benefits, value model, strategic objective chart, Google Trends, and a recommended reading. And please, if you have any questions, write them down. Just keep them in your thoughts. We'll have time for questions and answers at the end. So for buy-in, speaker of the we, you're not going to get anything accomplished by yourself. You need a team around you. You need to work with others. You need to be a part of a group. And it's not you doing something, it's we're doing something. And when you speak as a collective and you get others to work with you, you'll be more successful. And foster ownership. Whatever it is that you're trying to work on and accomplish, you need to work together. And those working with you need to have ownership, have skin in the game, feel like whatever it is that you're working towards, they're a part of it too. And that building consensus and having that time where you're getting together and you're planning, you're working together, you're doing the task at hand as a group, and you agree on the directions, and you're able to work with one direction and one focus. And focus on the positives. My district deputy grandmaster is an excellent example of focusing on the positives. So in our Masonic district, we recently went through what some would say is a merger of districts. And that's not the way he approached it. His wording is expansion, focused on how many lodges we have, how many members we have, the accomplishments of the members within our new expanded district, and talking about it in a positive light and letting others, if others talk negatively or are pessimistic, that's on them. But when you're the guy, when you're in charge and you focus on the positives, when you're the leader, it's not coming from you anything that's negative, and you're trying to keep everyone focused on the right, on the light. And Eisenhower's strength. So this example is very, very interesting because he talked about in interviews about how if you pull a string from the front, it's neat, it's organized, it's focused, it's directed. It's not out of place. You're leading from the front and everything is following that leader. But if you push that string from the back, from behind, it will ripple, it will curl, it will bend, it'll be disorganized, chaotic, and just unable to accomplish anything. So it's always good to do the work, to be there on the front lines, to roll up your sleeves and actually do the task. And this goes into leadership. You can be a leader by station, where you're a leader as long as you have that title behind your name or in front of your name. And as soon as that's gone, your leadership and your station, that respect is gone with it for in a lot of cases. But if you're a leader by respect, it doesn't matter the title, it doesn't matter the position. You've done the work, you're respected by your peers and those around you, and they will work with you because of who you are and what you've done and what you would do and will do, more than anything a title can give. And this is called the Fist of Five. This is a tool to identify visually consensus and if they're going to be working with you or against you. If it's a 0, that's your arch rival. That's someone who's going to fight tooth and nail against you for whatever it is you're working on. They're not going to be a part of it. 1 and 2 are varying degrees of opposed. So depending on that degree of opposition, they may be a significant issue for moving forward with whatever the task you're trying to work on is, or they may not be, and they'll just not be a part of any of it. 3 is neutral. They're not going to help you. They're not going to hurt you. They'll go whichever way the wind blows. And a 4 and 5, those are your supporters. Those are the people who are going to be right in there with you, believe in what you're working on. And if you can find that 5 or multiple 5s, that person's going to be your partner, and really take the reins and try and make whatever it is you're working on successful. So this is the attributes, benefits, value model. So it starts at the bottom with attributes, building on that with benefits to a value-derived outcome towards a core value. So an attribute, it's inherent to the product. Whatever it is we're talking about, it's inherent. It's non-decision making, it's subconscious. So, for example, we're getting into picnic season, people want to be outside, outdoors, and I have a background in food. And what many people may not know is that beans are an incredibly rich source of protein, even more so than meat. But it's an attribute to beans to have a rich protein source, is that it doesn't matter for purchasing. You're not going to buy beans because they're rich in protein. You're most likely going to buy beans like baked beans for a picnic as a side because you're trying to put together something that's a full meal. So that's an example of what an attribute could be. Whereas benefits, they're not necessarily inherent to the product. They're added or removed. And this could be like immunization boost, where they add zinc into the food, or gluten-free, where if there was gluten, there is no gluten. It's a decision maker. It's conscious. When you go to eat a banana, you might be thinking, I'm looking for potassium, so I'm eating a banana because that potassium is a benefit to me. So that's where this is very different, is you're actively making decisions based off of that benefit. And value-derived outcome. It's 1 to 2 sentences where you're taking the attributes and benefits and you're combining them. And that's what your value is taking these different parts, the subconscious and conscious, moving it together towards that value. And the core value, you're summarizing that value-derived outcome. There's 1 to 2 sentences into 1 to 2 words. And here's an example I created to show what the tool could look like. And this is an example about meetings with meals and the importance of having a meal served during your meetings. So attributes, it's nutrition, avoids hunger, it's a transitional period, soft opening and closing to the meeting. So a lot of times you'll have dinner before the meeting, and then afterwards you'll have dessert. A benefit, it's social. It's a chance to show off. You have a great new lodge facility, a banquet hall, you've done some renovations, you have great food, whatever it is, it's a chance to really show off who you are and what you do to visitors, especially if you have a visitation, something special. It's a chance to have that moment. It's time to talk shop. You want to talk about future plans or other work that you have to do with the lodge, it's a time to talk. And it's a time for presentations and networking. You get to meet and actually talk with your brethren differently in the banquet hall during these meals than you would in a meeting or just running into them by chance. And value-derived outcome, transitional social period for nourishment and engagement, which the core value from that, fellowship. So although we discuss how meetings and food with meals, that is fellowship. We talk about it that way, but this is giving a much deeper, more in-depth look at what that core value is and what that means and what that time can mean. And with core values, they're really important. And if you look at the Scottish Rite in the Northern Masonic jurisdiction, so much of the work that they have done and the success that they've had is through core values, focused on those core values and using that as a foundation for so many different activities and works that they've done afterwards. Keys to success. So we're moving more towards strategy. And when you talk strategy, first you have to be honest. You have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and know your strengths, your weaknesses, and don't hold back. Brutal honesty. And it's not just with you, it's with others. And you have to admit your weaknesses and work to correct them. Now, I'm not, for me, a stocks person. I don't play the stock market, and really, I'm not detailed in investments. I understand it, but I'm not really strong in that area. It's not where I'm best. But if I'm building a team to be successful, I'm looking for that person who is really good at investments, who really understands the market, who really is focused and strong in that area, because that's going to make us stronger for whatever it is that we're working towards. And that's where you work as a team, is you find your strengths and weaknesses, and you bring people around you that are able to help complete the picture, complete the work together, so that we can do something special. And building that buy-in, where everyone from the beginning talking about all of those tasks and all those steps to build that buy-in, we're now successful because it's not just me doing something, we're doing something. We are doing the work. And time to implement changes. Take time, be patient. If you try and make giant, large sweeping changes all at once, as soon as you're gone, it's going to be wiped away. You have to take time. You have to be patient. You have to look forward a lot further than you may be comfortable, but it will get done as long as you're patient and you keep working forward, working towards it. As long as you're taking a step, you're making progress. And how to fail. You ignore the shortcomings. You act as if everything's perfect. And you work alone. So if you're just walking in, doing it all on your own, nothing's wrong, nothing's broken, things are going to start to crumble quickly. And if you make those large sweeping changes quickly, it's just going to be a disaster. So you need to work together and take your time and be patient. Now we're changing the background of the slides here, because now we're getting into the executive level. Now we're talking the power tie section of the presentation. This is where it is. This is coming from high level thinking. And one part of this that's really important is that when I was taught this, the executive who taught it to me was wildly successful, and others imitated and copied what he did because of how successful it was using this exact method. So the strategic objective chart starts with key problems, which are 12 to 15 key problems. And we'll go into each one of these separately. And key issues, there's 3 to 5 key issues, which lead to strategic development, tactical development, an objective, and a mission and vision statement. Those are able to come from that objective. Where a mission statement is saying who we are and what we do, and a vision statement is saying who we are and where we're going. So for key problems, 12 to 15, no more, no less. If you have more than 15, you're nitpicking, they're not specific enough, they're too general, and it's going to be messy. And if it's less than 12, you're not being honest with yourself enough. You're not being honest about the problems you have, and you're not being clear on where you're going. And these have to be specific on an organizational level. You can talk about different Masonic bodies. You can talk about your personal life, your businesses. It's specific to that organization. It's not going to be something that you can talk about where the York Rite and Scottish Rite, although they're related, they face different issues. They have different structures. They have different concerns. Even though some overlap, they still have differences. And key issues, 3 to 5 key issues, no more, no less. Same as before. If you have more than 5, you're not being specific enough. You're not being clear on where you're trying to go, and you're nitpicking. If you have less than 3, then you're not being honest enough with yourself. And it takes 3 to 5 key problems to equal a key issue. Strategic development. Strategies directly counteract the key issue. If A is the issue, then the strategy can be improve A. Strategies are actions towards the objective. So when we complete the strategic objective chart, that strategy is working directly towards completing that objective. And strategies must take at least 1 year to complete. You're not going to get it done right away. It's going to take time. You have to really sit and work through completing that strategy, because strategies are actions that can umbrella. A strategy is something you work towards using multiple stepping stones to get there. And these stepping stones are tactics. And for tactical development, tactics directly support a strategy. They are the stepping stones to completing that strategy. And tactics must take less than 1 year to complete. And tactics are actions that cannot umbrella. They're in and of themselves the action. They're not moving forward in any different direction other than to complete that strategy. And for the objective, you complete this step at the end of the strategic objective chart, because what you may think is your objective at the beginning, once you visualize it and put it out in front of you on paper, on a spreadsheet, and you look at it, it may not be the same point that you started. You may have found a different answer to your question than where you thought you were at the beginning. Like I said before, this objective can lead to the creation of mission statements and vision statements. Who you are, what you do, and where you're going. And this objective is the focal point of a 5-year plan. So when you work towards these problems, you want to take a 5-year snapshot, this is how you do it. If you want to do a 3-year, you can do that. But focusing on that 5-year is just, to me, a standard. So key problems. For this example, there's 14 key problems. I've tried to create a general anecdotal example so that you can see how the strategic objective chart functions, how it works. And for these are different topics we talk about casually, informally, and we may take time to tackle one of them, a few of them, or forget about them because we're not focused on them, and they either resolve themselves or they don't. But this is where we take that foundation from those key problems and do everything based off of this beginning point. So for these key problems, aging membership, declining membership, inconsistent membership retention, increased participation costs, perceived lack of time availability, increased property costs, mergers, membership cannibalism. Membership cannibalism meaning that you have members doing multiple different types of work in similar or related bodies. So it's like if you have one member of a Blue Lodge who belongs to like 10 different Blue Lodges doing all this work for all of them, that person's doing a lot, but it's not showing new membership growth. It's just one person doing a lot for 10 different lodges. Inconsistent expectations, resistance to change, inconsistent candidate experience, competing priorities, unknown in the community, non-participants in the community. So moving forward, we got key problems on the left. We're reading that and moving on to the right. So we've talked about everything on the left, and now we're looking at the right and how we can organize that and be more strategic and forward thinking with that foundation that we've created. Now, you'll see at the bottom, resistance to change was crossed out. The reason is it's not specific. It's very general. And I put that in there as an example of what not to use. It doesn't fit in anything directly. And it's not something that you can really account for. You can be aware of resistance to change, but it's not going to be helpful. It's not specific. So moving forward, focusing on key issues: membership, aging membership, declining membership, inconsistent membership retention, membership cannibalism. Perceived barriers, increased participation costs, perceived lack of time availability, inconsistent candidate experience, competing priorities, inconsistent expectations, poor community image, increased property costs, mergers, unknown in the community, non-participants in the community. So those are our 3 key issues. And now for the strategic development, Each key issue is being counteracted by a strategy. Key issues: membership, improve membership. Perceived barriers are the key issue. The strategy: resolve perceived barriers. The key issue is poor community image. The strategy: improve community image. So moving forward, we're now looking at strategic development and tactical development. And I'm not going to put too many wordings on this slide. We'll talk about things in a little bit, but the one part to put in there under membership, because membership is key. You can have all the money in the world, the most beautiful building in the world, but if you don't have the membership to enjoy it, to use it, to take care of it, to have stewardship of it, it's all for naught. So present clear leadership plans, build buy-in, and identify target age group. A target. If you look at the last two lodges constituted under the Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania, they're very interesting. 815. It's a traditional observance lodge. It's got its own traditions, its own way of acting, and it's a very specific lodge. And then 816. That lodge is a daylight lodge, which typically has been for either entertainers who work at night, so they can go to lodge during like lunchtime, eat lunch, go back home afterwards and after the meeting, and still work that gig at night. Or in this case, could be for retirement age members. That's 65 and older, where they don't want to be driving at night. They don't want to be out late. They want to get together, have lunch, have a meeting, enjoy the lodge, and then go home. Or go, if they're at the Masonic Village, go be with their family at the Masonic Village. So, tactical development, improve membership. Have open public events. Have people come into your building, know who you are, be involved. If they're interested, they're reaching out to you. You can talk to them directly. Maintain channels of communication. You want to maintain different channels of communication with members, non-members, and really be available so that if someone has questions, maybe they want to join, they're able to talk to you. Show membership achievements. Be proud of your membership. Celebrate your membership and celebrate what they're doing, because that's building you, one, closer together as a group, and also it's showing that you celebrate and care about each other. And provide engagement opportunities. Provide fellowship, provide different benefits to being a member where you're doing things and you're enjoying what that membership brings. And promote everything. Resolve perceived barriers. So for this tactical development, create participation cost models. Part of that should be in your bylaws for your lodge of how much it costs with that petition for each degree, and how much, where that money goes for that petition fee. You can see that. You can show that. You can show this is what it costs for dinners. This is what it costs to do different trips you may do. But you can show this is what it costs to be a member here, and actually show if it's reasonable or not, and let them decide. You can display available organizational assistance. Like right now, our Right Worshipful Grand Master, Jeffrey M. Wonderling, his charity is the Widows Guild, promoting how even when we pass, our significant others are cared for. They're remembered. They're still a part of our group. They're still a part of us, and we care, and we're here for them if they need us. Showing care like that, showing who we are, the outreach we do, showing how, with the help for the heroes, that you pass around the bucket or the helmet to collect money for that, and talking about how it gives a calling card to that soldier overseas. So they're able to call home and say, hey, I've been hurt, but I'm okay. Let them know, be able to have that conversation. That's special. That's something that we do in Pennsylvania that is significant. And that's something that talking outwardly to those who may not be aware of it shows how good it is that Freemasonry is here and how we do things to help those who are part of our fraternity and beyond, and provide average time expectations for different responsibilities. Whether it's being an elected officer, an appointed officer, part of a committee, set the expectation clearly of what you are expected to do in this role so that it's clear. This is what we're expecting of you, and to hold them accountable. And the mentorship program. The Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania has spent an immense amount of energy and time working on curriculum to create a standard, at least a baseline of information that all elected officers are able to receive and all new members are able to receive, so that those who are elected officers are able to have this fundamental understanding of their position and what they do and what they're expected to do. And new members understand what they're a part of, what they're joining, and what they're getting as far as a part of these rights and privileges. And encourage members to be active in other organizations. We all benefit when we have active membership. If that person, that member, is not active in the Blue Lodge as much, that brother is more interested in York Rite or Shrine or Scottish Rite, be proud they're active. They didn't disappear. They're still being active and engaged. Because if we have active membership, even if it's a different body, it's still a benefit to us. While we want them to still be active in our Blue Lodges and be a part of us in that respect, it's their choice, it's their life, and we should be celebrating the fact that we have active membership in Freemasonry as a whole, because that's going to make us better and stronger. And improve community image, this tactical development. Create and complete building maintenance plans. You want your building to look nice. It's curb appeal. If you meet in a building that doesn't look nice, doesn't look warm, welcoming, and inviting, and it could be scary or intimidating to someone outside who doesn't really know, that can be harmful to your image. So have that nice curb appeal. Make sure the inside looks nice. Work to make sure you have a good building that feels warm and welcoming. And attend and create community events and activities. While it's easier to join a different event in your community and be a part of that, whether it's like a Friday celebration where everyone's just out on a main street enjoying the town, or you're creating something, which could be maybe a car show, but you're creating some reason, a reason for someone to come to you, see your building, see what you do, and be a part of what you are for a moment. And attend local government meetings and partnerships. Be a part of your community, meet with stakeholders in your community, and build that partnership. You'll find so many different people that you connect with just by engaging with those in the community. And it's not just like holding a blood drive, and which is successful in and of itself, but connecting with the different people who are involved in so many different parts of that cause could open up a whole new window of opportunities and open the doorway for you to be able to be engaged in so many different other aspects of what we could do in a charitable outreach way, and a way to get people to your building and maybe join. So going back, strategic objective chart, key problems lead to key issues. And the key issues are counteracted by the strategies, which are built upon the stepping stones of the tactics, which lead to the overall objective, which will create mission and vision statements. So here is the full picture. We started on the far left, casually talking about key problems, and focused that and looked forward to building that and organizing that chaotic mess into very clear and very focused key issues, which we then counteracted with strategic development and strategies and tactical development and tactics to complete those strategies towards the final part, the objective, which in this case fully include all members in various levels of involvement and participation. Become active civic leaders with showcase-worthy building that serves as a community pillar. You want to stand out. Be a light, bright source in your community where that community is proud that you're a part of it. They work with you. They're so glad you're there. And you're doing so much for those in that community that your presence in the community benefits everyone. And this is a little bit more sad, but this is Google Trends. This is free. Everything we talked about here is all free. In Google Trends, you can just Google that and search different terms, organize it, get data. And what this is Google search results. And basically you put a term in and it'll show you based off of where you put it in, what the interest is, or different data, breaking down even by metropolitan area, all this information so that you can look at it in more in depth. And for this, I just chose Freemasonry, Freemason, Shriners, York Rite, Scottish Rite, focusing on the more main Masonic organizations and terms that would be more likely searched. And what we see is Freemasonry in Pennsylvania has the highest interest, completely separated from the pack. And Shriners and Freemason are actually pretty close in searches and people who are having interest in those different terms. Where Scottish Rite and York Rite, a little lower, but they're still there. But this is where this chart shows you good information, but it's slightly misleading. Because when you look at the numbers from Google Trend for looking at 2023 year to date, you see that the numbers aren't significantly high. Seeing Freemason and Shriners about 800, York Rite about 30, Scottish Rite is a little bit under 200. So we're not talking high numbers for these terms, whereas Freemasonry over 5,000 in this 5-year time period, which for our membership, we're kind of plateauing. We haven't really lost too much. We haven't gained too much. We're kind of in an interesting position. So this could be looked at as an opportunity that we're not engaging online in a way where do we have a strong social media presence, where we have membership engagement and we have engagement in the community through a community page? Do we have a website where others can reach out and visit us and understand who we are and connect with us that way? Do we have email blasts? Do we have phone call blasts where for membership, we're talking about different events and really promoting ourselves? Different tools. And it's up to us to really take stewardship and move this forward. But there's a great opportunity here. And things will come, ebb and flow. It's never going to be completely up. But we can really turn this around quickly because we've been very successful in coming out of COVID so far. We were going into COVID, the world changed. And now we're looking at this post-COVID world, and we're looking at where we are now and where we can be, and how are we going to handle this world after COVID and where we're going to be. And that's where this recommended reading comes in. So this is from Robert Putnam. This is the 20th anniversary edition. And the reason that's up here is because this edition came out in 2020. This book was written in 2000, before emails were ubiquitous, before the internet was a part of everyday life, before social media was even a concept. This book came out saying at the end of the 20th century, we've got a problem. Volunteerism is still something that people want to do, but as the title suggests, people are more likely to bowl alone than they are to get together with other bowlers, join a community bowling league, and be a part of a group with that shared interest. And looking at this book and civics and volunteerism and all these positives, Freemasonry is an example of what this is. We are so invested in so much of the fabric of America that what we do is important on so many different levels. And for us to maintain it, to grow it, to foster it, to care for it is vital. And although things have changed and over time, they've gone up and down, we have a great opportunity in front of us now as we go into this post-COVID world to make some really positive, great changes that will benefit all of us.